Good morning, everyone. I'm Marianne Pizzatola from the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. I have an announcement to make today. We had shared a press release yesterday, and I'd like to share that announcement with you today. New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees stands in opposition to the DC37 endorsement announcement. Unions do not represent retirees. New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees announces that our membership stands in opposition to the recent announcement made by the leadership of District Council 37, supporting a city attempt to shove retirees into a healthcare plan that is simply less attractive than the one we were promised when hired and currently enjoy. To that end, the union has chosen to support mayoral candidates, including current City Council Speaker Adrienne Adams, who does not support retirees or their bill Intro 1096 before the City Council. This is ugly, unethical behavior, and disingenuous conduct by Henry Garrido, the executive director of DC37. His union does not represent retirees. Some of us are former union members. Some of us were dedicated civil servants who were never in a union because we were in managerial titles. But together, there are 250,000 of us and our families. We are cops and firefighters, emergency management personnel, corrections officers, and workers from many other jobs and titles. DC37 does not support these retirees or Intro 1096 to protect earned and paid for vested healthcare benefits. Let me make this clear. Pitting active workers against retirees is anti-labor, unethical, and immoral. Candidates today are faced with a dilemma. If they choose a labor union over protecting retirees and supporting a federal public health benefit of Medicare, they lose support from the largest voting bloc in the state, retirees. That should never be a choice anyone should be forced to make. Yet several honorable candidates have made that choice. Henry Garrido, as vice chair of the Municipal Labor Committee and executive director of DC37, knew the protections that Administrative Code 12-126 had when he attempted to sell off retiree healthcare during the de Blasio administration and in the middle of a COVID pandemic. He knows retirees are not in his bargaining unit. When retirees learned he did this, we organized, we began grassroots fundraising, and we litigated to protect ourselves from him. We have twice won our court battles in 3 separate cases, and we're facing a third round. Every time retirees won, the city came up with another way to go around the court. After 3 separate cases and 11 wins, with 3 unanimous appeals decisions, they still seek to steal from us. How can the Democratic Party allow this union to pit retirees against the interest of active workers, privatize the federal public health benefit of Medicare to the default plan of Project 2025, known as Medicare Disadvantage? Speaker Adrienne Adams has threatened council members who support retirees legislation. The interest of the 2 largest unions in the New York State AFL-CIO just threatened Senator Peter Harcum, the main sponsor on our state legislation, Senate Bill 3607, so that he dropped our bill, and today it languishes. This is a bill that would have protected all New York State municipal retirees from being forced into the default plan of Project 2025 and prohibit the city or the state from rolling back on a promise to retirees, the elderly, disabled, 9/11 responders and survivors, line of duty widows and widowers, and our disabled children. In the New York City Council, the Speaker leads the body that legislated healthcare for all workers and retirees and our dependents since 1967. That law was amended a dozen times by the City Council member Mary Pinkett, who was the first Black woman in the City Council in 1974, and she led the protection of retirees in the Civil Service and Labor Committee through 2001. She was also the president of Local 371 DC37 AFSCME, the same union of the people behind me who are trying to do this harm to retirees still today. Unions and politicians have lost their way and their moral high ground. If you're an elected leader, we encourage you to stand up proudly and publicly for what is right and not be intimidated by those leaders who lost their way. No labor leader should be reducing healthcare benefits or stripping federal public healthcare benefits from retired workers or endorsing legislation that's permitted to reduce benefits for retirees as long as it equally reduces them for active workers. Not today and not tomorrow. Retirees do seek to preserve a floor that existed for almost 60 years. And the New York City retirees will not be making any endorsements at this time, but we will in the very near future. and we're grateful for the support of many mayoral candidates and other elected officials. I want to say something else before I close. You have a wide array of choices for a Democratic primary. You have people who have served this city and served it long and well. And yet, DC37 chose to endorse 3 candidates who are the only ones who have not signed on to protect a retiree, a current retiree, and protect their federal public health benefits. Promises made, promises kept. Out of the entire slate of Democratic candidates, they chose only 3 when they could have chosen 5. Why didn't they choose the others? Because the others supported retirees. These are candidates who have served their city, served their constituency, and agreed to protect the people who elected them. DC37 snubbed their nose at all of them simply because they chose to stand up for what is right and to protect them, the promise made to them by the city and that same union, and the federal public health benefit of Medicare. Otherwise, they've all lost their way. If they continue to do this, there will be no need for unions. When it will become known that the New York City retirees has been fighting this fight for 4 years and a promise made to them will be a promise not kept. If that a person could take a city job and pay a union dues for decades of their life and serve their city loyally, that very same union would collude with the city, whatever mayor was dangling a raise above their heads, to say, you sell out those retirees and we'll give you a raise. That will destroy the labor movement, and it will destroy the city's ability to attract and retain workers. And clearly still, we are below headcount in city agencies because they are watching what's going on. With the diminishment of pension benefits under Tier 6, with reducing wages, with wages not keeping up with the cost of living, with workers having to work 2 and 3 jobs in order to sustain their families. And then you steal from retired workers. And the union allowed it. Michael Mulgrew did it in 2014 and Henry Garrido did it in 2018. And to stand with the union, Tish James, Speaker Adams, Zelnor Myrie, Zoran Mamdani, to stand with the union that is okay with stripping a federal public health benefit away from a retired worker who served this city well, loyally, over decades. It just defies logic. You have wonderful candidates in the city of New York that want to fight to protect you, want to serve you in some way. In the Democratic Party, you have Jessica Ramos, who is DC37, Local 371, who's a current sitting senator. You have Brad Lander, who's a current sitting comptroller. You have Scott Stringer, who is the former comptroller and also a New York City retiree. These are people who are trying to help different facets of this community. Michael Blake, who was a former assemblyman, also attended our debate last Thursday. But DC37 chose to endorse only the 3 candidates that have not signed on to protect retirees. To Zelnor Myrie, to Zoran Mamdani, and to Adrian Adams, I'm urging you today, sign on to commit to protecting retirees' federal public health benefit. The promise made, promise kept, should be kept to the city. And City Council Speaker Adrian Adams, it is your duty and your obligation to protect retired workers who are no longer in a union. Sign on to 1096 and encourage your colleagues to. If your only goal was to get an endorsement out of a union, you got that. Now, do what's right and protect the people that elected you in the first place. Protect the Medicare benefits that your body, that you lead today, legislated in 1967 to protect retirees. Otherwise, we've only succumbed to an unethical, immoral city council and New York City, where it's okay to basically let Medicare eligible retirees, your disabled and your elderly, line of duty widows and 9/11 survivors and responders to fend for themselves, because an endorsement by one of the largest unions in the city, who was trying to steal their health benefits to fund a raise for young active people, was more important to you than the lives of the people who served. That will be the legacy of those who don't sign on to protecting retiree health care. And we're watching.
Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way